Welcome to the Ascension Football Show, Season 3, and we are focusing on the Ascension Invitational Tournament of Trinidad and Tobago. And today on set, we have AC Port of Spain, formerly known Northeast Stars, on set.
Pandemic would have set everybody back, and we tried.
Not having a clear calendar in terms of we have
The games are being viewed in a few countries live.
Ascension Invitational Tournament Trinidad and Tobago, AC Port of Spain. We have with us Mr. Batu, head coach of AC Port of Spain. Good day, sir. Pleasure to have you on set with us, man.
Pleasant day to viewers as well.
We'd have heard about the name so many times. But there's your sons, and then you are the head coach. I want to take me through your coaching career, and where you would have coached, so that persons would make sure and differentiate between your sons and yourself.
Okay. All right. I started off at Rangers.
Like St. Anne's Rangers.
Anne's
Not the Lockett at Rangers,
I
no.
was not making the distinction.
Oh, okay.
St. Anne's Rangers. I spent some time there building Rangers, and then I moved on to Jablote. Dominate with the youth program in Jablote for 5 seasons straight, all age group. And then I returned to Rangers in the 2013-2014 season as the technical director. And had some discussion with the then owner, Richard Fackery, about the way forward for, at that time, St. Anne's Rangers. And some of the things that we discussed during the season, which should have been implemented, they weren't. And because of that, I made another U-turn and went back to Jablote and continued to work with Jablote for a while. And then I liked the concept that AC Port of Spain had said in their introduction.
Yeah, when they take over
When they took over
from Northeast Stars, and
Stars.
in terms of where the direction they wanted
in
to,
that they wanted to develop the youths for both professional football and one that is very important that we need to pay attention to, which is the academics of the player, so that a player could decide if he wanted to go to college or play professional football with DC Port of Spain. I like that concept, and so I came on board with AC Port of Spain.
as what they would have normally done in the US, where players are developed, where you could either get a degree, take your career elsewhere, or still continue on the part of football.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we had 2 seasons, and those would be like any other organization, teething.
Now taking over. Yeah.
And up came the pandemic.
And now we're back with the Ascension.
And
Take me through that period of the pandemic, not having football. We would have seen AC Port of Spain in terms of taking over from Northeast Stars, or transitioning into AC Port of Spain, younger players being sold, a few players from AC Port of Spain going abroad. That development, you could have seen the trajectory of AC Port of Spain and what they were about. How did that pandemic affect the upward movement of AC Port of Spain?
well, I think like with every one of the professional clubs they have, and by extension some of the other leagues, whether it be the zone football or maybe the Super League, that the pandemic would have set everybody back. And we tried, because we were listening to the protocols that and the information coming out of the Ministry of Health concerning whether we could go on the field, the numbers we could go on the field with. And so we stayed with that. We tried going on the field with groups of 5 just to maintain a certain amount of football being played. So
keep guys with the touch, give their fitness up.
So, and we concentrated on the more the touches and the awareness of time and space, something that when the season started, because we never really had a what we call a off-season, pre-season
Right.
competitive phase. It's always based on how the football is being run here, that you have 3 months to prepare a team, you have
Yeah.
2 months to prepare a team, and maybe it's deja vu. But
So-
with that, and then they stopped everything altogether.
As you mentioned, the way how football is run in Trinidad and Tobago, I want to ask you that question. What's your take in terms of not having a clear calendar in terms of we have senior football running between this period and this period and the downtime and your off season and your pre-season? What's your take on how much of a effect is that on players and players' development?
Well, I came from the time when they had 2 seasons, football season and cricket season. Oh, cricket season and football season, they were taken between, and that affected the performance of a lot of players in terms of they matching up with what was taking place outside.
Yeah.
And in terms of the actual playing ability, it hampered a lot of players, and to that extent that we had players who were doing both.
Yeah.
We had players who were playing cricket, and when football comes, they playing
football.
football.
Yeah.
And I think players were at a disadvantage when we were trying to compete
Yeah.
with the rest of the world, especially when you wanted to say that a young guy has some talent and maybe he could blend in with a club on the outside. The mobility, because of the two difference in training regime, hampered that player from progressing.
Yeah, because we're talking if we're talking 6 months of being able to play football, while internationally outside of Trinidad and Tobago, persons playing football for 9-10 months a year, you're losing 4 months automatically. You're at a disadvantage. Knowing that football is the dominant sport in Trinidad and Tobago in the world, what's the take in terms of the amount of football we are playing now? Because back in the day, cricket, let's be honest, cricket and football will be fighting for the attention of young men.
Exactly.
But now football is the dominant sport. I don't think cricket has really moved on or pushed on in Trinidad compared to back in the days with the West Indies and even the Trinidad team. Football being the dominant sport. So what is your thoughts on the amount of football we play currently a year in Trinidad? Is it enough? We need to step up?
We play a lot of football in Trinidad and Tobago. But the content of the football itself, for instance, we had, let's say, the Pro League. And the Pro League would run for a period of time, maybe 4 months. And then you have another break in between there. And none of the Pro Leagues, well, we see could afford to keep the players on after
after the tournament for most teams. Yeah.
And so, yes, we play in a lot of football, but the players find other avenues to play their football, and it may not be in line with keeping a certain structure to cater for what they go in and outside,
So they may play their minor league football and pick up bad habits. They're not defending. So they're not playing on the back.
A lot of football.
Yeah.
But is it structured enough to make us competitive with the rest of the world in terms of player for player? And I mean, I just asked a question that I have answered already. that ain't happening.
That's an issue.
And I don't know if I could focus on the Ascension League here, which in my opinion is a very good thing for the players and their mindset, and it causes them now to change your focus and focus on self, to be part of a bigger picture, which is a team. Because I could say one time, the Colleges League would have sports marks. Now we have the Ascension League with sports marks. So whereas a coach would have wanted to tell a player, listen, he ain't fit for the game. He had to do a little better with the first touch. He had to run a little more off the ball. I think now that the Ascension League's here and the games are being viewed in a few countries live. Not only that, you would get to see how somebody else play, even if you were in a game.
Yeah.
Because you can go on now and look at the games and see where you have to work on. That, to me, is something tremendous for a young player. And it still hasn't hit home with a few players as well, because a lot of the guys who come to us, I could say they're not aware that they're on show.
Every game. Every single game.
Minute.
Every game.
And if you ask a young guy where he want to go, with some big club on the outside. Nothing wrong with that, because you could dream.
That's the ambition.
You try to follow your dream, your ambition. But what are you going to tell somebody now? When you call those teams that you want to be part of, and they are seeing you real time in terms of your preparation.
Yeah.
You take it ease up a little bit on the coaches.
So you think the introduction of television with the tournament, every single game would be streamed, every single game would be recorded, and players being able to look back at it, coaches being able to look back at it, would help in terms of the development on the field?
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay.
And it could now cause us as coaches to focus on more tactical awareness rather than trying to get you fit to get through a season.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the positives coming out of the structure right now with the Ascension League.
So, Coach, AC Port Spain in the past under Northeast Stars would have won the Pro League. So you would have had titles and championships running through your blood. Although under a new name, it's still in your blood, in your vein. What's your chances in terms of how you view your chances in this Ascension tournament?
Well, in terms of the success that Northeast Stars had before, that would somewhat transition into AC Port Spain. The era of that whole thing has disappeared. And you would find we have new players and try to create that atmosphere. A lot of the guys who would want to come to AC Port Spain would have some of the history of, and if not the player, the parent of the player would have had the history of Northeast Stars, and with that would want their sons to most likely be part of the setup with AC Port Spain. But again, a lot of the players would have migrated, and our concept now is to develop the younger players, as I said before, for that glory days.
To return to
the
rebuilding. Days. Coach, I want to get in a little more into the on the field and what's happening with preparation with the team. But I want to take a short break. So when we get back, we get in a little more into what AC Port Spain is doing in terms of the preparation of the Ascension tournament.
The situation we have here is that these characters, and I refer to them as pests, right? What they are doing is destroying our country, but not on my watch. No street, no turf, no block shall belong to these cockroaches, right? It's no longer business as usual. Happy hour is over. If they don't fear God, at least they will fear Terminix.
Have you considered how your methods could impact on pests across the country?
I find we look after the rights of pests as opposed to the rights of the 1.3 million law-abiding citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. I wonder if Roach Ladden's son come here for carnival, if you'll interview him, eh?
But how could you defend one shot, one kill?
What, you want me to throw a pillow at him?
I didn't say that.
No, well, if a roach jumps in front of you now, what will you do?
Run.
Oh, Jesus, Lord Father.
Pests bothering you? Call Terminix at 672-5007 or 672-0042 or visit our website at terminix.co.tt for a free quote and consultation. Join our fight against pests.
Get in the game with Ascension. Quality for champions. Ascension. Premium quality and style make you stand out all the time. Ascension is quality for champions. Ascension fit is always right. Take your game to higher heights. Ascension got the quality for champions. So everybody say, hey, oh. We wearing Ascension when we play. To run out on the field in style. What's the brand that we want? Ascension. We wearing what we wearing is Ascension. Quality for a champion. Ascension. We wearing what we wearing is Ascension. Quality for a champion. Ascension. We wearing what we wearing is Ascension. Get in the game with Ascension. Quality for champions.
Amante Del Cafe is located at Magnificent Mall, number 271 Southern Main Road, McBean, Couva. Amante Del Cafe. Happiness begins with brew.
My name is Ryan Frederick. I'm a midfielder and I play for Central Soccer. The biggest challenge is to try and finish in the top 3. It will be a tough tournament, but we come to give a good show and show everyone how much good players we have in Central here. Central Soccer has answered the call and Central Soccer is ready.
Lasso Friend Maritime Limited, the best in marina services. At our facilities, security checks ensures that all vehicles are secured. Our newly renovated bathrooms are always kept in a clean working order. Need repairs and maintenance? We have you covered. Our qualified workmen will get the job done. Boat storages, from our marina, you can easily push off for a family sailing trip. Out fishing with the boys. Or a fun DDI experience with friends.
repairs, secured parking, extensive camera system, boat charters, boat rentals, down the island parties. Contact us at 1-868-634-1653. Lasso Frame Maritime Limited, the best in marina services. Life's better on a boat.
Well, as you're saying, you're now starting training. What you want to achieve as the most positive aspect of a team when you get going?
When we get going, I would like the players, based on the concept of what the AC Port of Spain stand for, is to try to build an all-round player, not just for the Ascension League alone, but to try to make the player what we call a marketable product.
You would have seen a few guys in the last couple of days in terms of the screening. What do you think you want to improve on in the group, the training group so far?
We have guys coming to the training groups, yes. And you know, usually in the early part of the training, you will have the what it call those guys. You will have quality, but you will have more quantity coming to the session. And later on, we expect by maybe Thursday that then you would see, because we still have a phobia in Trinidad and Tobago where players, the better players supposedly look at the session to see when all the hard work finished and then running with the boots in their hand as though they were doing all this amount of training. So we suspect that later on in the week, we would see a little more quality players coming to AC Port of Spain sessions, and we could also now use that to enhance what we saw so far as against the finished product, so that when this tournament on, I could easily see that AC Port of Spain could do some damage.
Grade the performance of the guys coming back to training in terms of fitness and whatnot. One being the best, one being the worst, 10 being the best. Where rate their fitness?
I'll rate them 5 for one specific reason, that a lot of these guys coming to these sessions now, they were playing football, but they were moving on their own time. And a game, you have to move in with, let's say, with the speed of the game. Because they were playing minor league, and in minor league, once they had the ball, they could move, and once they lost that ball, you stand up. Here, the opponent, they get the opportunity to do that. So mobility is one of the areas we have to look at.
Right. What advice you will give to up-and-coming player coming out of the pandemic?
I would ask an up-and-coming player now to realize your dream, follow your dream. Obstacles are all you meet when you're on the way to the prize. Like I was saying, we have when we were dealing with the young players, because I am one of the coaches in the national circuit as well. Anything could be an obstacle. Just remove the obstacle and you'll see the prize.
My name is Sion Thomas. I play central defense and I play for AC Port of Spain. So my routine on game day is basically good breakfast, good lunch, depending on the time of the game. Watch couple football videos, defensive attributes. My favorite player is Thiago Silva, so I just watch a lot of videos for him to get some inspiration. Music in the locker room, good warm up, game time. So basically the challenges that I see coming ahead, being inactive for football for 2 years, that's a big challenge. Players are a little rusty coming back out into the preseason and coming into tournaments. So just trying to work over the kinks and nuts and, you know, compete for the title. So the opponents that I have my eye on is Defence Force, because they are the reigning champions and that's the biggest test. I believe that we have a good team and we can compete with them. So let's rumble. My motivation for football is just the love of the sport. I've been playing since I was a little kid, coming through the ranks in Jabloteh, Central FC, and yeah, just love what I do, being able to do or live out a dream. So that's basically my motivation. The practice day in training is basically warm-ups, agility, sharp work, plyometrics, and getting ready for the next game. So basically we would just work on what tactics and formations and whatever we plan to do in the upcoming game. I feel pretty good. It's been 2 years without football, so being able to play again is tremendous. Just excited to get kicking. AC Port of Spain has answered the call, and AC Port of Spain is ready. My name is Sion Thomas. I play central defense and I play for AC Port of Spain. The challenges that I see coming ahead, being inactive for football for 2 years, that's a big challenge. So the opponents that I have my eye on is Defence Force because they are the reigning champions, and that's the biggest test. AC Port of Spain has answered the call. AC Port of Spain is ready.
Pest control is a pain, but you don't have to go it alone. If you're a business that needs someone who will fix your problems point blank, go with the brand that's tested. Go with Terminix. Born almost a century ago in Memphis, Tennessee, Terminix International's mission has been to spread its innovations across the world through its integrated pest and termite management system, reducing the infestation of pests and vermin. Our Trinidad franchise neutralizes the threat of tropical insects and ensures that companies, from food production to hospitality, protect their investment and get the maximum value from our relationship. And we've been doing it well for over 20 years. Termites and pests are relentless, but they're no match for Terminix. Contact us today for a free consultation and quote, and let's introduce you to convenience. Protect your premises today. Choose a service provider that persists. Talk to Terminix.
Pests bothering you? Call Terminix at 672-5007 or 672-0042 or visit our website at terminix.co.tt for a free quote and consultation. Join our fight against pests.
Get in the game with Ascension. Quality for champions.
Hey, Ascension! Ascension! Premium quality and style make you stand out all the time. Ascension is quality for champions. Ascension fit is always right. Take your game to higher heights. Ascension got the quality for champions. Now everybody say, hey, oh, we wearing Ascension when we play. To run out on the field in style. What's the brand that we want? Ascension! 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 We wearing what we wearing is Ascension. Quality for a champion. Ascension! We wearing what we wearing is Ascension.
Get in the game with Ascension. Quality for champions.
I'm Gordon Pierre, Director Part Owner of Real Westport United. Terry Frennick, he was afraid to play after the Rangers. Angus Eve was afraid to play after the Rangers. But we, the Ron Lafayette trained team, we are ready, willing and able to defend the West against the Lahafita Rangers attack. Westport has answered the call and Westport is ready.
Lasso Frame Maritime Limited, the best in marina services. our facilities, security checks ensures that all vehicles are secured. Our newly renovated bathrooms are always kept in a clean working order. Need repairs and maintenance? We have you covered. Our qualified workmen will get the job done. Boat storages, from our marina, you can easily push off for a family sailing trip. Or out fishing with the boys. A fun DDI experience with friends. Boat repairs, secured parking, extensive camera system, boat charters, boat rentals, down the island parties. Contact us at 1-868-634-1653. Lasso Frame Maritime Limited, the best in marina services. Life's better on a boat.
Amante Del Cafe is located at Magnificent Mall, number 271 Southern Main Road, McBean, Couva. Amante Del Cafe. Happiness begins with brew.
And we're back to the show. Coach, the pandemic has came. I think it affected everyone. Being a father, being a coach, I want to get the feeling from you in terms of how you stayed motivated, how you would have maybe helped your son stay motivated. You know, you have a son as a coach, a son as a player, national team player. How has that period been for you and your family in terms of keeping guys motivated, knowing that you are the, as they say, the alpha male in the group? How that period would have been for you?
The first beginning, a lot of players would have called to ask advice on what they should do, knowing full well that they can't be part of a team to get their training on. And the information that was given out is that you don't necessarily need a field to do your, what we used to call it, invisible training, so that you're ready to fit back into, because we know somewhere along the line that football would restart, but of course,
you don't know when.
I can't give you bad advice as to go and join a team. Although we know some of the guys were going against the protocol and they were playing, but I couldn't add to that. So I would advise that you do your personal training. Make sure you have on the proper footwear if you had to run in the streets, if you couldn't get to a football field. And there's the core strength stability that still needed even if you go back on the field now, that you could do in your home.
Right.
You had the opportunity of observing because they were allowing you games to be seen on television. And the times now, with the amount of social media that kids have, that their worst sessions, whether it be YouTube or other social media, that the guys could have looked at to see if you can't leave your home, what it is they could do.
Yeah. To improve on maybe a theory of positioning, where it should be tactically, technically, where it should be on the field.
And that's another new area for footballers. And I think it has to do a lot with the structure, in that guys, we haven't grasped this self-awareness that I want to be the best player. We still have those that want to just make the team because Ascension playing until, let's say, about to June.
Yeah.
And after that, they're willing to
do something else. Yeah.
That hasn't hit home as yet. And I am hoping that after this season, with the structure in place right now, with the Ascension League, that a lot of players wise up and realize that if you did good during this season, you want to do better for the next season.
And continue to improve.
Take
me through coming out of the pandemic. Take me through a session that you would, because we know we got the green light a few weeks ago. Putting together a team, getting guys back out, getting them motivated to come back out. And now take me through sessions, knowing that the league would start in a couple of weeks. That short pre-season, as we call it. Take me through a session of what you would focus on now in these sessions.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not willing to dress up anything right now. AC Port of Spain started preparing for the Ascension League Wednesday of last week. So to say that we have a team right now, the answer is no. What we have is players who desire to play, and that's good for us, to play for AC Port of Spain. So we are still in the process of screening players. Right. We have this evening, we have this week, and maybe by next week we had to now put a team together that I could present to you. So we said,
so that we could,
so that it could run up everything.
Right.
So this evening, like the other days gone by, we focusing on finding the right balance between defense, midfield, and strikers, and we'll be looking for players who could handle the transition of the game, which is the back and forth.
So you ain't just looking for attackers, or you're looking for guys that
can... for me, I like attacking football. But for you to play attacking football, your defense has to be pretty sturdy because you're going to take a lot of risk in the game. So we're trying right now to balance between getting the right type of player to play in the positions available.
You will have mentioned the short time in terms of getting ready before the start of the tournament, which is a challenge because of the time we got the green light for the time we're starting.
Agreed.
That being said, what are the challenges you feel you would face within the tournament? At the beginning of the tournament,
I suspect the main challenge we would face is getting the quality of players to be ready to play that competitive type football against for some of the better teams in the tournament right now. Having said that, we have some quality players coming into the team, but because of the pandemic itself and the structure of the league, where we asking players to vaccinate, a lot of the guys would come to your training sessions and they wouldn't say that they're not vaccinated. Probably still hoping that they could get selected to represent without being vaccinated. And so we have to tell them, listen, if you want to be part of the session this evening, you must be vaccinated because you won't get selected anyway. And we come to the realization that a lot of the footballers who would have want to come back to AC Port of Spain, and by extension, any one of the team in the tournament, they really didn't consider being vaccinated.
How much of this you would lay in terms of teams not having players year round, not being vaccinated? For example, defense force would have less of that challenge, but they are still the service. Locketa to Met Rangers wouldn't have all players are vaccinated, but they are contracted year round.
Right.
We're talking about players that are looking at that in our system currently, that part-time clubs contracting them just for the tournament. How much of that you think is a part of players' hesitancy in terms of being vaccinated to play football?
Well, I think the one of the things that they rather focus on is that the misinformation being spread about the vaccination.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players took it to heart that if they took the vaccine, something will happen to them, and that barrier is very hard to break. Even though a lot of the guys come into the game right now, or the training sessions right now, they have them in what we call limbo, football limbo. They're in two minds now if to go and get vaccinated, which is that is understandable, and that is, I consider that to be a good thing, because some will make up their mind because they want to play when they see the league get going, and they're left behind. But for me, and my opinion to that is give the players that time to make that decision. Just like I had my time to make my decision to take the vaccine, I think they should be given that time to.
But well, the good thing to that is that we had the owner of the Ascension League on set here, and he said that registration would be given a longer period. You know, normally a league is started and you get 2 weeks after the league starts to lock off registration.
Right.
I think registration would be carried on for maybe a month and a half, 2 months into the tournament to allow for players, because we know when they see it on TV, they'll say, "Why? There's no reason why I'm not taking the vaccine. It's not that it's any medical reason. It's just I'm not feeling to take it."
Right.
And I think guys would now do their research, get informed, because a lot of players not informed. They just choose it. We had no reason to take it. But now they will get informed. They would get their checkup as most players have done, got their medical advice, and then make their decision there. So I think there would be some of the players making that informed decision a little later on than others, and the league is also preparing for that as well. So your sons, you would have had your sons through this pandemic as well, being a player, being a coach. How would you have helped your sons through this time in terms of helping them stay motivated, stay focused through this pandemic as well?
Right. My sons, they weren't in Trinidad, just like they are now. They're outside the country, and they had their bubble, and they were playing competitive.
So they played through the pandemic.
They had times when they would suffer the same thing like every other country, where some of the guys in the group would break protocol and end up with one or two players contracting the COVID. But by and large, they were being tested, and if it was suspected that maybe their temperature was a little bit high, they weren't allowed to train.
Right.
But they were outside and they were back into the sport longer than
we are here in Trinidad.
Are here right now.
Coach, I think it was a pleasure having you on set. I think we need to bring you back on set to talk a little more Trinidad football and what we should do in terms of helping our program, as they say, structure in terms of football, and our positive and structured football, and getting players to play a little more structured football. But it was a pleasure having you on set, sir.
It was a pleasure for me being here as well.
All right. I hope you take the invitation to come back soon.
Not a problem.
All right. And that's it for another Ascension Football Show. Remember to watch us on our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, at our website at the Ascension Tournament of Trinidad and Tobago.com.